Are people printing anything these days? And look at who they put at the top. Everyone feeling all right? Yeah. This will take some time to integrate, and I do caution you, it does take months. There is not a part of your beingness that isn't touched. For those that have allowed the energy as it is. Some ask the question, they work very hard during this, and that is applicable, but if one just stays out of the way, it has almost the same effect. Energy is energy is energy. But the mind controlling, and the mind is all persuasive and all powerful, as we all know. It's really one of the great secrets that they addressed eons ago on this planet. But what they didn't do, if you notice on the map I was asked two questions. And one comes to mind is the seven God country, India. Did you notice when we looked at the map, we didn't look to India. So this is the reason it's coming up now. I don't remember what I was going to tell you, so I'll go to the first question. I mean, when you're half-witted, you need help. The first question the lady asked about anchoring, because it is confusing to many. What do we anchor? And the phrase is used many times, it's used in many, many ways. And sometimes these simple questions have very long answers. But I'll limit it to this. Anchoring is exactly what it refers. What are we anchoring? We're anchoring the source, are we not? Into all that which has been so limiting on this little planet for so very long. And that includes a five-body system, if that is your belief, or a four-body system. If you include the etheric body, where's my glass? Glenda. Oh. I have to look at my goddess possibilities and get my own glass. It'd be a new role. Thank you, Princess.
Princess? Only Princess? Well, you gotta take what you can get.
So anchoring is what we do, and we've done this so profoundly, particularly for the earth. That was a very powerful meditation, much more powerful than you can truly see the power of the mind, the power of a concerted effort, the power of the group. And the focus is almost incalculable from our finite definition of how we see things and perceive things through our minuscule view of five senses. I was asked if we will touch into the fifth dimension, and I think this group will, if they're being allowed to anchor the goddess, the feminine principle, then they most certainly will. I'll let you know after if you haven't figured it out. And India, what was the question about India?
Why didn't we touch upon India when we were doing the
Yes, that's the question. What's the answer? The seven God country, I've gotten it. I have gotten it. This is something that has to be addressed separately for those who worship a guru or masters or give their power to anyone. Indians' lack of success in every sense of the word has been the guru or quote master generally kept the power to themselves. And we're referencing this as anchoring. You anchor with groups. You anchor with all that is. If you singularly sit in a lotus up on a hill, your parameter is very small, is it not? And you're not really reaching those with whom you would wish to, so mastery is not a correct word. Mastery is a group focus. It always was, and service is a group focus, as it always will be. We are a group, and there is no higher and there is no lower. There is no karma in the sense of karma. It's simply the only thing I agreed with Darwin. Cause and effect. His mechanical laws of physics have no application today that I'm aware of. No. So if you go to the seven god country, India, you would think at this time in their ancient history that it would be more enlightened, less endowed with chauvinism. Some of you men don't like that word. The male child being all. It's not the only country that does this. But to master, you master as a group. Otherwise, it's a very selfish act. We don't need saints anymore. I went to meet an aspect of self called Diskalos. Some of you know this energy in Cyprus. He's a marvelous healer. Pleasant enough man, not out of the ordinary. This is the way it should be. And I remember him when I was at Norton. I remember his energy also as Oregon, the one who started the Greek Orthodox Church. And he works very much with the astral, the psychic realms, and the Devic elemental kingdom for his healings. I'll say this now to all of you, because you must understand that healing is neither light nor dark. It's what you, the collective self, allows to happen. So when you see some, I'm trying to be kind. Brian, be kind. You're the only country in the world, America, that has 5 channels at least, and I find them very amusing, that has nothing but sky pilots determining their view of their God. It has absolutely nothing to do with what Jesus taught. Absolutely nothing. And we give them billions and billions of dollars, seemingly, for the lieutenants of Falwell, Pat Robertson, to tell you who to vote for. So you vote a criminal into Virginia. Well, he'll probably win. To tell you who to vote for. And that they would kill or annihilate all homosexuals, because that's what the Bible says. Their interpretation is to gas and eliminate. This is a very select group. So we compete with light, with immense darkness on these courses. They always talk about Satan, they all talk about the devil, they have no idea that they are incarnate. They are darkness. And when you see it 24 hours a day being broadcast, it's like Coca-Cola. If you see enough of it, you'll buy it. And all of us have been affected at one time or another with guilt. What if? my granddaughter, asked a Catholic lady, what will happen to Grandpa because he does not agree with what you teach? Well, he's probably all right if he's been baptized. And then God, the same God, the God of all that is, of the sources, will watch your grandpa, and he has a little white sheet, I'm glad it's white, and he'll say, put a little X every time your granddad has been naughty and done something that's wrong. But above all, he must be baptized. And then when the sheet fills out, well, I don't want to tell you, dear, how, you better, well, I don't know what will happen. He probably burn, This is what we've been submitted to for the last 250,000 years on this planet. And part of it is because we have given our power to anyone that would listen. And now we give it to our politicians. We've given it throughout the world at various times to almost anyone. You keep your power, gentle one. Your power is everything. Give it to no guru, give it to no politician, give it to no one. Be love. And generate love. And through the microcosm and the macrocosm, you become the I am, the gentle I am, the loving I am. And that energy will permeate and become. It's not a great effort. The side effects? I've had some difficulties with my physical body. I've not been good to it. But I haven't, some great difficulties. I'm amazed, quite frankly, that I'm here. And I will continue to be here for some time. So all of those who adore this saint or that saint, when I went to see Descalus, I had, call it a vision, of having been a saint there 8 times, been canonized. So I went to one of the sites where I realized that I had been a saint. And I got a passing review that all I had done is starve to death. I had starved to death, and I sat in this little cave where, and for this I was canonized, and for this I was again a saint. We really must put things into perspective. Of the 422 saints that went through Cyprus, 188 of them, 108 were from Cyprus. The balance were from other places like Hilarion and us other chaps here. Some of you maybe. I'm not making a mockery of what we adore, but there is no justification for what we adore. Take your power back. And in this cosmic heart is the heart of hearts, the God that you are. To that we give our energy, to that we give our power, for this is who we are. There are no intermediaries. We don't even own the atoms in our body until we say they are ours. I am. I am. And that connection becomes so profound within the thymus that you're directed constantly as the I am. Man and its mythical standards, anybody that came out of a saucer, anybody that came out of a UFO must be a god. We touched about that this morning. And you will see more of this. This is why I'm alerting you a little, not alarming you, alerting you. And you will have to be very, very firm on what you see, because the third dimension will expand itself in a way in desperation that is unbelievable to you. And you will see this great cosmic gap between what you were and what you are. Recently, Glenda and I were on the Cayman Islands, and I went to a dance that I had previously gone to, and I think I had 5 years where I drank quite a bit. That's an understatement. Vodka and he were synonymous. And I said to my friends, I said, everything's changed. Look at these people. Look at these idiots. It's changed so much. I said, it used to be, there were different kind of people. They haven't changed. I had changed. And you'll see this reality more and more as we live the greatest time that we could possibly be on earth. Keep our youth, those that have made special preparation. It takes a great deal of time to prepare for this planet. It is not an easy sight. It is not something easily done. We hope to keep them alive and well, and not fractionalized with these stations of fear. Who themselves have become so dark. There's a great sadness in all of this, because it bewilders so many people. What if my father, when he died, was so certain that he had lived, he couldn't accept the reality that life is ongoing. That was denied us when Mad Theodora bequeathed that there will be no cardinal that believes in reincarnation, and up to that time they all did, as you know. As Simon Peter, we all believed. What was the fundamental difference between the Christian faith and the Jewish faith was reincarnation. But how can a socio-political power, aggressive power, control if they know they're going to come back? So Theodore made very certain that there was no such thing as reincarnation, which had been accepted as truth relative in all of this world. So you are the gods that you are. You don't have to starve. You don't have to do anything except become. And that sounds so simple, but we know it isn't. We know it isn't, don't we? The cells will have a reaction to what we say and do. And before the temper flares up, always look to the flame in the cosmic heart, which I would like to work with you on now. For the Christ itself is you. It can't be anywhere else. It always was you. It was never intended to be anything else. We need vigorous workers. Saints don't do the job. We need people who carry the light to become the I am. And you seek it within your own heart, not somebody else's. But you all know this, don't you? All I'm doing is something in the depth of your beingness you do understand, and that's why you came here. This is why those who say, oh, God, I'd do anything to get off this planet. If you look at it closely now, the most heightened time in this universe, and the most concentrated effort at any time on any planet, is this planet we call Earth. And we've agreed to meet. And this is the company I call the Goodly Company. And there seems so few of us now. I know there are several million. To ignite and become, because this is the Savior energy. The energy of Savior is not out there. It isn't anywhere but within oneself. And the Christ told us all this. We all listen to this. The lovely Jesus told the story. Maitreya channeled it through him. These were wonderful truths. These men weep now when they hear and see what happened to Christianity, or what became of Christianity. And whether they come back or not is not of any importance, for now divine equality is the issue. There are no Christs. You are the Christ. There are many, many, even at the level of consciousness that I come in from. It's an army. It is not one being. It's an army of light. It's an army of light workers who've agreed that they would fulfill this contract with their source, with their I am, with their bountiful self, with love. No matter how angry you get when you go down the street, open up that heart that you're developing rapidly. And it is a miniature, every bit as important as the heart that's on this paper. It's a mirrored reflection, isn't it? Everything is a mirror, everything is a reflection. Breathe in and expand that heart. And look to live there when you want to get angry and somebody's giving you the finger. And they'll be well cared for. This is an experiment, this planet. The last one didn't work. So it left us no blame, there is no fault. If you have 2 strands, and I call it 3, the DNA, and you need 12, is any wonder that when I say we created this reality, we created the first chakra and the second chakra, definitely. And they're all related to the discs that we speak of that you work so arduously with. And those discs are definitely chakras, and they're definitely connected to your DNA. And you have 12 chakras, 12 discs, 12 helices within your DNA, and they all will be connected. And what I will teach before tomorrow is over is the connection, that it goes beyond the 12 helices, beyond the 12 chakras, into the monadic level, which you've Dwal-Kul, as recently as 30 years ago, referred to as that which we don't speak about, because the ring passeth not. Your elders who have seeded this planet from other planetary systems, they do not understand when they're asked the question, are they God? Well, they no, we're not God. We think we're close to it. Why give an answer? Everyone in this finite discipline is the I am. And it's rather limiting from our perspective when we hear the confusion around us in our own seed nation, whether they be the Pleiades, or whether they're Orion, or whether they be Altea, which is your white race, or whether they be the Hovids, the Jewish, or whatever race you have in your genetic code, has no bearing whatsoever on the evolutionary potential of a fully developed DNA. This is what we're going to hearken to and connect, not with limitation, but to be able to have it expand into the monad spiritually and not confine it simply to 12 chakras. Does that make any sense? Some have gone to wee-wee, so we will wait. Anybody that's going to, better, because this next meditation will... I never thought of that one before. How do you get rid of everyone? Tell them there's a long meditation coming up. Oh, that's going to be quite interesting. Did you all have a bit of a walk or stretch or something? Yeah. I think that's a very good idea. Are there any questions related to the group? I do not respond very well to. On anchoring? No. Good that you brought it up again. My answer was not complete. Anchoring is not in perpetuity into earth, as many would have you believe. And this is where I get, again, the Indian syndrome, is they haven't anchored into the earth because everything is out there. It's good enough just to bring in your God source, which has always been universal. Do you understand the differences? The spiritual realms have never been understood on this little planet, nor were they to be. Because, for example, you were not coded sufficiently to tie in to the spiritual realms. So, with Dwal Kul, through Bailey, through Germain and his teachings, and through others, there's been an excessive exercise in anchoring into the earth. It is absolutely imperative that we anchor. It's like having a positive and a negative terminal. It doesn't work if it's not grounded. The mystics, many have seen themselves as being separate of humankind, have made whatever sacrifices they have made without being grounded. Get a sense of that. And it was whether there were the Sufis, it didn't matter who or what. This is invariably what happened. So now we have, through a number of teachers, a real commitment to anchoring into earth, not only to help her, but to help ourselves. The better the ground, the better the light. You see that? So what we may or have done, there's a tendency now to pick up the vibration of earth excessively. Vibration of earth is the lowest in this universe. Even though she's becoming 4th, 5th, and 6th, this is her destiny. This is her programming. Your DNA is programmed, is it not? And the Earth is programmed now to go into a next level that it's not prepared for. You who have gone to school in America, your high school level is one of the lowest on Earth. You all know this. If you don't, you should. But the phenomena is that they go from high school to some of the best universities in the world, where they require an A- or an A to get into that school. So there's this huge gap. Do you see this? This great gap between high school and a major university. You fulfill this. Other countries don't have that. Japan goes the other way around. The excessive acceleration on the lower grades and less so with the university. That's more, they have been established as the old British system did with their 11 plus exam. Churchill would have failed. Einstein would have failed. So that wasn't a very good system. So it's that gap between now that is so important for all of us as we see the third dimension seeming so exasperating to those whose vibration is infinitely higher. This is what is going to cause you more discomfort than almost anything else, but it does cause cellular discomfort. I'll give you an example. If you're vibrating at 750 per second on a third dimensional level and touching into the sixth dimension, you say, this is an argument, this is not accurate. You go up to 22,000, we'll just say. Can you see the stress on the cellular body because you're vibrating beyond what this body was designed for? And then you look out and you see and feel and try to understand your television set. Try to understand your neighbor. And this will be difficult for you, and this is why I encourage within this gap to really concentrate. Concentrate on living in that heart. And you can do all your adjudications, all that you feel you can or cannot do, you can design within this room because it becomes a natural reflex. You don't have to think about what you're doing, you feel the heart. It is so enlivened that it becomes your immediate response. It takes time. It takes time. The first person that nearly hits you when you leave the seminar, you'll remember what I said. And it's not easy. But if you're going to live and find joy on this joyless planet, this planet of sorrows, you will activate this new body, these new cells that are coming. Many of you are building completely new bodies, and they have to be redesigned. Absolutely and totally. Because you're going to stay in this body for the time being until you have the ability to transcend it. You understand? To build a new body. Many of you have done that in the past, but not in this vibration. Some will do that when they go. The Himalayas are ideal. Maitreya coming to London, as some suggest, would have a difficult time with the bus fumes, I think. Can you imagine walking in your light body in the streets in London? I want you to think about this for a moment. Maitreya need not come back, so these are your decisions. I want you to visualize creating your light body in the city of London. think of Tokyo or LA, Mexico City, and imagine how sensitive, first of all, it is, this light body. At 16,000 feet even, in the Himalayas, it might not be too difficult. In fact, it's done very often. And this is why Katumi and some of the others do hold their classes in greater heights where the vibration is easier for them to maintain. But of all the places to pick for some creative, inspirational person to devise that Maitreya is coming into London, sometimes think about it. That burst of diesel from that so what's going to be happening is he's going to be going and he's going to go. He doesn't have to deal with five senses. He doesn't have to have a nostril to smell it. They just go. So he'd have to be creating, in my judgment, our judgment, you'd have to be creating that light body about every 30 seconds. And if you think we've got problems maintaining our body into the fifth and sixth dimension, you ain't heard nothing. You all know the book, I presume, that references this. The man 17 years ago I heard on a talk show in Vancouver, Canada, beloved Vancouver. And I heard him say that next year Maitreya was going to come into London. And then the next 17 years later, they've got a picture of somebody in a crowd. There is humor in some of it. But you've got it, realistically, I know a little bit about the light body and I have some recall of it, and I know how sensitive it is. You will create this physical body for the purposes that they were intended, and your DNA will change totally. And those who create the spiritual body, there are a number of different initiations. The one that you've all heard of for so very long is the etheric light body ascension, because that is what was done in the past. The spiritual ascension is very different. Your cells speed up beyond the speed of light. Some of you are starting to feel this, the accelerated rate. And then always it's the electron for the etheric body, the bonding of the electron, that's the God light within the atom, with the microtron. We don't talk about purity with microtron because we're talking about spiritual energy. It is the essence of creation. So if you integrate two things in life, you integrate all that is with the microtron and the electron. It is the electron always that creates the etheric body and elevates one. Most of you have moved beyond that, so initiations are really not that relevant, are they? They are if you feel they are, and it's a justifiable step. But let me look at let us look at you. Have we all gone to wherever we're going? No, we haven't. So your thoughts should go with Maitreya in London. It's tough enough on the drivers, the buses. I love London, I love the theatre, but not in a light body thinking. Maintain the body that you've got as tough as it is. And allow it to become light and lighter. Good, gentle ones. That marvelous channel that you've created with the discs, that's a good exercise for you. And then literally collapse those discs at whatever breadth you wish. And know that these are chakras. We call them chakras because they're vortices. And vortice is an energy center, and an energy center is what we call a chakra. We deal with 12, not 7. 7 is an old number. And since your harmonic convergence, 5 higher rays have come in. These chakras universally have always been there. They just were not implemented. So you look at your source star, please, and you'll see it differently, 6 to 8 feet, because no two people are identically situate at that level.